We've got to live, no matter how many skies have fallen. Life is ours to be spent, not to be saved. Instead of chopping yourself down to fit the world, chop the world down to fit yourself. I want to live my life so that my nights are not full of regrets. It is a fine thing to establish one's own religion in one's heart, not to be dependent on tradition and second-hand ideals. Life will seem to you, later, not a lesser, but a greater thing. Money poisons you when you've got it, and starves you when you haven't. But better die than live mechanically a life that is a repetition of repetitions. A woman unsatisfied must have luxuries. But a woman who loves a man would sleep on a board. One must learn to love, and go through a good deal of suffering to get to it, and the journey is always towards the other soul. A woman has to live her life, or live to repent not having lived it. For my part, I prefer my heart to be broken. It is so lovely, dawn kaleidoscopic within the crack. Be still when you have nothing to say, when genuine passion moves you, say what you've got to say, and say it hot. Love is never a fulfillment. Life is never a thing of continuous bliss. There is no paradise. Fight and laugh and feel bitter and feel bliss, and fight again. Fight, fight. That is life. I love trying things and discovering how I hate them. Those that go searching for love only make manifest their own lovelessness, and the loveless never find love, only the loving find love, and they never have to seek for it. It's not art for art's sake, it's art for my sake. Be a good animal, true to your instincts. Never was an age more sentimental, more devoid of real feeling, more exaggerated in false feeling, than our own. That's the place to get to, nowhere. One wants to wander away from the world somewheres, into our own nowhere. I can never decide whether my dreams are the result of my thoughts or my thoughts the result of my dreams. What the eye doesn't see and the mind doesn't know, doesn't exist. Recklessness is almost a man's revenge on his woman. He feels he is not valued, so he will risk destroying himself to deprive her altogether. This is the very worst wickedness, that we refuse to acknowledge the passionate evil that is in us. If I were the moon, I know where I would fall down. I am part of the sun as my eye is of me. That I am part of the earth my feet know perfectly, and my blood is part of the sea. If a woman hasn't got a tiny streak of harlot in her, she's a dry stick as a rule. When I read Shakespeare I am struck with wonder that such trivial people should muse and thunder in such lovely language. Sex and a cocktail, they both lasted about as long, had the same effect, and amounted to the same thing. Life is a traveling to the edge of knowledge, then a leap taken. As we all know, too much of any divine thing is destruction. You can't insure against the future, except by really believing in the best bit of you, and in the power beyond it. The only rule is, do what you really, impulsively, wish to do. But always act on your own responsibility, sincerely. And have the courage of your own strong emotion. Sleep is still most perfect, in spite of hygienists, when it is shared with a beloved. Mankind has got to get back to the rhythm of the cosmos. Give up bearing children and bear hope and love and devotion to those already born. The beautiful pure freedom of a woman was infinitely more wonderful than any sexual love. I have never seen a wild thing feel sorry for itself. A little bird will fall dead, frozen from a bough, without ever having felt sorry for itself. I would rather sit still in a state of peace on a stone than ride in the motor car of a multimillionaire and feel the peacelessness of the multimillionaire poisoning me. For how can a man stand, unless he have something sure under his feet? Can a man tread the unstable water all his life, and call that standing? Better give in and drown at once. And yet, one's kite will rise on the wind as far as ever one has string to let it go. It tugs and will go, and one is glad the further it goes, even if everybody else is nasty about it. When we get out of the glass bottle of our ego and when we escape like the squirrels in the cage of our personality and get into the forest again, we shall shiver with cold and fright. But things will happen to us so that we don't know ourselves. Cool, unlying life will rush in. It is all possessions, bullying you and turning you into a generalization. You must leave your surroundings sketchy, unfinished, so that you are never contained, never confined, never dominated from the outside. You don't want to love, your eternal and abnormal craving is to be loved. You aren't positive, you're negative. You absorb, as if you must fill yourself up with love, because you've got a shortage somewhere. There is no pornography without a secrecy. I fear my enthusiasm flags when real work is demanded of me. To be rid of our individuality, which is our will, which is our effort to live effortless, a kind of conscious sleep that is very beautiful, I think that is our afterlife, our immortality. Only youth has a taste of immortality. The optimist builds himself safe inside a cell and paints the inside walls sky blue and blocks up the door and says he's in heaven. In every living thing there is the desire for love. And what's romance? Usually, a nice little tale where you have everything as you like it, where rain never wets your jacket and gnats never bite your nose, and it's always daisy time. What is pornography to one man is the laughter of genius to another. Perhaps you're a slave to your own idea of yourself. God is only a great imaginative experience. I know no greater delight than the sheer delight of being alone. Trust the tale, not the teller. If only you could tell them that living and spending isn't the same thing. Why are we all only like mortal pieces of furniture? Why is nothing important? It is not who begets us, that matters, but where fate places us. Lads learn nothing nowadays, but how to recite poetry and play the fiddle. Be braver in your body, or your luck will leave you. Listen for the voice of water. God should be iridescent, like the rainbow in the storm. Man creates a god in his own image, and the gods grow old along with the men that made them. But the god stuff roars eternally, like the sea, with too vast a sound to be heard. Every man who is acutely alive is acutely wrestling his own soul. And they fear nothing, and they respect nothing, the young don't. Art speech is the only truth. There's so much of you here with me, really, it's a pity you aren't all here. I am in love, and, my God, it is the greatest thing that can happen to a man. I tell you, find a woman you can fall in love with. Do it. Let yourself fall in love. If you have not done so already, you are wasting your life. You mustn't mind people so much. They're not being disagreeable to you, it's their way. You always think people are meaning things for you. But they don't.